Chapter 20. The Claim. The borderlands churned as the Witherblaze claimed dominance, Sorath's beacon flaring bright across the horizon. The air shifted with it, becoming warmer and drier. Kai, Era, Korik, Raven, and Myr'ides gathered around the central fire pit at the heart of the Enclave. Violet and gold flames crackled softly, casting each of their shadows long across the clearing. Several townsfolk gathered at the far edges to watch. Myr'ides' finger traced a deliberate path across the map. You'll go south through the Badlands while the Witherblaze holds. You'll go past Rested Notch, then through the pass at Faulted Ridge, back into the Nightshawl. It's a quiet route and should be uneventful. You'll come out south of the Maw and sidestep whatever creatures they've gathered there. Why not go direct? Raven asked. Era leaned forward, studying the map. The witches won't be able to far-sense us as easily if we're skirting the edge of the realm. She glanced at Myr'ides. Smart. Very smart. Myr'ides only nodded, and then she tapped a point over the Black Sentinel. They'll still leave Voidkin at the Sentinel's gates. Count on it. Korik put a hand on Raven's shoulder. Raven and I'll handle the bloggers. Keep them busy while these two slip inside. And the witches? Kai asked. They'll be waiting inside, won't they? Without question. Myr'ides' gaze settled on him with something close to approval. But you've already rid us of two. There will be Myr'ides, the Knight Banneret, Nycuris, the Hidden Dagger, and Valthera, the Den Mother. Era turned to Kai. We'll hit them hard enough to run. I'll do the hitting, and you do the running. Myr'ides inclined her head. They won't die unless the crystal turns its full power on them. And Kai will lead every measure of it to shatter the ebon crystal at the uppermost oratory. Korik clapped Kai on the shoulder hard enough to make him stagger. So, keep those legs moving, boy. In and out. No heroics. Crystal first, witches second. Kai's palm settled against his blade's hilt. Got it. And the Prismir Fisher? Era asked, turning to Myr'ides. The Nexus, yes. Myr'ides' finger moved to a point off the coast. A vortex of corrupted Prismir feeds the Nightshawl directly. It sits on an island of the Umbral Dream, just off the Sentinel's shore. It needs to be disrupted. Kai's brow creased. How? Myr'ides' gaze dropped to the crystal at his waist. The blade will know. When the moment comes, trust its work, as you had trusted it to reveal the crystal archives. I understand. Finally, Valthera. My hope is that she surrenders. Her shoulders seemed to sag. But I was her witchling for many cycles. I know her. She is part of the Nightshawl, not its seneschal alone, but woven into the very fabric of it. She has given herself over entirely. Her voice quieted, which means her death is likely the only way to end this. Leave her to me. Era's voice was steady. Myr'ides nodded solemnly. So be it. Let the blow come from one who has suffered directly by her hand. Kai felt those words as if they were an edict, and none of them protested. Myr'ides looked between them. Are there any questions? Kai shifted, his arms crossing. Yeah, why aren't more of us going? Korik answered before Myr'ides could. No time to haul ass back to Gloam's End and organize something bigger. And even if we did, the witches would see us coming from leagues off and lock the place down tighter than a bloody crypt. He gestured at the map. We've got maybe 20 runners back home, plus a handful of men who know which end of a blade to hold. Bringing them all would just slow us down, make us a target. And for what? A bit more muscle? He shook his head.
We'd be trading our best advantage for barely any gain.
Raven nodded slowly.
So it's just the 5 of us.
4, Myr'ides corrected.
I won't be going. I haven't been in a real fight for cycles. I'd only slow you down.
4's enough, Korik said flatly.
Small group moves fast, hits hard, and gets out before they know what's happened. That's how we win this.
Myr'ides's gaze swept over them.
4 pacers, and if it can be pulled off, a claim that'll be one for the historic scrolls. Destroying the Nightshawl.
Korik snorted.
Right. Sorry about that, you lot. Normally your paces come with a bit less wear on the bones. But you're stuck with what you got, aren't ya?
Kai's mouth quirked despite himself.
Apparently pacers also come with chronic back pain.
Korik shifted the cannon on his shoulder with a grunt.
Well, what I lack in spry knees, I make up for in firepower.
Myr'ides stepped back.
It's customary in our tradition that the lead runner speaks before the claim. That honor is yours, Kai.
Kai swallowed. He'd never thought of himself as a leader. He'd spent most of his life following others, trying to prove that he belonged somewhere in their wake. He looked at the faces around him. Korik, grizzled and immovable. Raven, loose-limbed and watchful. Era, still as iron. He took a breath. I won't pretend I know exactly what we're walking into. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you this will be easy, because you'd all see through it. You know. All of you better than I.
Damn right.
Korik. Shush. He glanced down at the crystal, then back up. What I know is this. We've already done things that shouldn't have been possible. We've come further than anyone expected us to. And the witches... He let the words stew. They've had centuries to convince themselves they're untouchable. Convince themselves that immortality means invincible. His jaw set. It doesn't. His hand closed around the hilt. The Nightshawl ends with us. Whatever they throw at us, we're taking it down. He met each of their eyes in turn. They fear this more than we do. They wouldn't have spent 600 cycles hiding behind that tower of theirs if they didn't. A quiet fell over the campfire. Then, Kai said roughly, "Darkness can't hold us." The others echoed it, their voices joining like one. "Darkness can't hold us. Darkness can't hold us. Darkness can't hold us. Darkness can't hold us," Era said, finishing. Well spoken. Korik then stepped forward. The firelight caught the lines etched deep around his eyes as he placed a hand on Kai's shoulder. When he spoke, his voice had changed into something reverent and ceremonial.
"As Rune Minder of the Nightshawl runners, I stand witness."
He looked to Raven, then Era, then back to Kai.
"A claim is made this churn."
The words hung in the air like an invocation. Korik's grip tightened.
"Kai, son of Eric, bearer of the crystal, do you make claim upon the ebon crystal? Do you accept the burden of its undoing, knowing the cost may be your life, your soul, and all you hold dear?"
Kai's throat tightened. This was more than a gleaning, more than going out after Brazilian dust. This was an oath spoken before witnesses, binding him to whatever burden were to come next. He met Korik's eyes. "I make the claim," he said.
"And do you swear, by Daneta's light and the blood of runners past, that you will see it through, not for glory, but for balance restored?"
"I swear it." Korik's other hand came up, gripping Kai's other shoulder.
"Then let it be witnessed. The claim is made. The tread is set."
He looked to the others.
"We stand as pacers to this claim. We guard his back. We share his burden. We do not falter."
Raven stepped forward first, her hand pressed over her heart. "Witnessed," she said. Era followed. "Witnessed."
Myr'ides inclined her head from where she stood. And may Danera grant you strength. Korik released Kai's shoulders and stepped back. The ritual was complete, and its authority settled over Kai like something he hadn't known he was missing. As they said their goodbyes and departed from the Enclave, Korik tightened the strap over the hulking cannon at his back, letting out a low grumble.
Can't believe I'm leaving a perfectly nice bed to march into the arse end of the world with you lot.
Raven raised an eyebrow. You chose to come. Voids, Korik, you helped make the plan.
Aye, well.
Korik glanced at Kai.
Been watching you and Kai grow up, teaching you both everything I know. I'll be damned if I'm gonna miss the part where you actually do something with it.
He shifted the cannon with a grunt.
Besides, figured you could use someone who knows how to blow things up proper like.
Raven shot him a look. But you've never used that thing.
Oi, course I have. I tried it last Vale.
They climbed the trail out of the dusty valley, the twilight badlands stretching wide around them. The orange glow of the wither blaze fell away behind them, its warmth receding until nothing remained of it but a distant smear on the horizon. Each step carried them further from Barandark's refuge and deeper into barren stone. They skirted the wither blaze's edge, keeping to the southern reach where its heat barely grazed them. The route took them wide, around Rested Notch, clear of any settlements or patrols that might have marked their passage. The terrain changed by degrees, sand giving way to rock, the air thinning and cooling with each league gained toward the dark realm. By the time they reached the pass at Faulted Ridge, the wither blaze was gone entirely. The Nightshawl came in like a tide, and its shroud thickened around them until the path ahead dissolved into shapes and shadow. One by one, they spoke the incantation. Kai heard Raven's voice first, then Aira's, and finally Korik's.
Shonis vus malay dirnoith.
And Kai also spoke the phrase. The magic took hold before the last syllable left his lips. The world blurred at the edges before snapping back sharper than before, rendered in silver and shadow. Every surface was etched with sudden precision. The darkness no longer pressed. His sight carved detail from it. The jagged ridgeline rising on either side. The narrow pass winding ahead between stone formations that thrust upward. Korik's outline sharpened beside him. Ahead, Aira and Raven's forms were unmistakable even in monochrome. Kai watched their silhouettes move through the silver dark. He tried to picture what would come after the Nightshawl. He'd been trying since leaving Barandark. Every time he reached for an idea, there was nothing there. His imagination went blank. The fact that he didn't know unnerved him. What's the first thing you'll do when Arin's light shines on the coast? Kai asked. Raven didn't hesitate. Sleep. A full day. Maybe two. Aira's mouth quirked. In the daylight? Absolutely in the daylight. Raven stretched her arms overhead. On warm sand. Korik let out a rough chuckle.
To build myself a proper house. None of this stone hovel bollocks. Somewhere high up, where I can see for leagues around.
What about you, Kai? Raven asked. Well, the Crystal Archives chose me as its guardian. I want to go back. Learn everything it holds. They all looked at Aira. Her attention stayed fixed on the path ahead. Those all sound nice. A pause. I don't know. I haven't let myself think that far. Kai understood. Hoping for something beyond the Black Sentinel felt like tempting fate. But maybe that was precisely the point. Hope was the most defiant thing they could carry into the dark. Within the shadowed heart of the Black Sentinel, Velthera stood upon the dais. 4 churns. 4 churns of work, and what surrounded her now was a pitiful shadow of what had stood before. The 100-cycle wards were gone, unmade by the boy's unleashed power, torn from the tower's stone, as though they had never been woven there at all. What remained was her own hasty reconstruction. Below, Myr'ides and Nightshawl wove the final threads of protection around the ebon crystal. Velthera pressed a hand to her side. The wound still throbbed beneath her robes. She did not mind the pain. Pain was the root of the Myr'ides, and she had always drawn strength from it. What she minded was the fact that it had happened at all. Her fingers found the torn fabric at her side and held it. She swore she would not be reached again. Velthera watched Nightshawl force a final ward into place, the glyph fighting her fingers. When it finally settled, Nightshawl glanced up from her work. Hesitation flickered across her features. Den Mother, we were 5. The quintet held the Nightshawl in perfect balance. Now we are but 3. Does this not diminish us? Velthera's voice cut sharp. Her fingers curled against the wound at her side. No. She stepped down from the dais, gaze fixed on Nightshawl. The others were necessary once. They're gone now, and we're concentrated, refined. What was spread across 5 now flows through 3. She held the look until Nightshawl dropped her eyes. It was a thing that she had told herself across these agonizing churns. The words needed to be true, and said often enough, Velthera knew that they would take on a power of their own, binding the remaining sisters closer to her. And when they arrive? Nightshawl asked. Myr'ides rose, the spellwork complete, and wiped a streak of soot from her cheek.
I'll hold the grand vestibule,
she said. Velthera's gaze swept the oratory. I remain here. The crystal won't be left open after what we've seen them capable of.
Then I'll suffer you no trespassers,
Myr'ides said. Velthera grinned wickedly. Myr'ides was immovable when she chose to be, and Era, with her little pet boy, would find the price of passage steep if they managed to survive the abyssal maw once more. And I remain with you, Den Mother, Nightshawl said. It shall be, Velthera responded. The wards crackled one final time before their glow faded down into the bones of the tower. The Black Sentinel was ready. 2.5 churns of travel had brought them to the foot of the Black Sentinel. They didn't stop for rest during their journey. 1 churn and 1 veil was spent skirting the Witherblaze to avoid Rested Notch, and the other full churn and veil were spent pushing deeper into the Nightshawl after passing through the Faulted Ridge. At last, they arrived as the Nightshawl roiled into its 3rd veil. Kai crouched low behind a barren ridge, his prismaric sight piercing through the gloam. They were deep in it now. No ambient light, no landmarks apart from the tower were visible beyond what enhanced vision could carve from the black. And the Black Sentinel did loom before them. And swarming before and beyond its gates, Voidkin moved in restless, chaotic patterns. There were far too many for Kai to count, but he knew they'd be done for if the creatures closed in all at once. He could use the crystal to destroy them all in one go, but that would leave nothing for the ebon crystal, and they'd have spent everything before the gambit even began. Korik exhaled through his nose slowly in disappointment. He scanned the perimeter through the darkness.
Right then, we go around the side.
Wait, Korik. Raven shook her head. We can't. The rear stairwell collapsed when they escaped the first time.
Is that so?
Korik glanced at Era for confirmation. She nodded. It's gone. No way up but through. Korik's jaw clenched. Bloody voids and witches' houses. There'd be no sneaking past this time, and whether the rest of them felt it or not, Kai knew they were exposed under the veil, vulnerable to anything the witches might send around their flank. The only path forward was straight through the courtyard into the vestibule, and through every shadow creature standing between them and it. Raven reached for her bow and knocked an arrow. I guess this is it. We'll hold them off while you go knock politely. Era's attention flicked toward her. Are you sure? She said. We'll be fine. Korik's got my back and I've got his.
Aye. And together we've got your backside,
Korik said, impatience creeping into his voice.
Let's do this.
Kai swung around quietly. If we leave the Sentinel standing, the witches will keep coming. It doesn't matter where we run. Gloam's End, Barren Dark, Evergloom. We'll never be free from them.
Aye, boy. How will you pass the gate?
Era and I will get as close as we can without raising alarms. When the moment strikes, you draw the Voidkin off. That'll give me enough time to charge up the blade to hit the gates. Korik rolled his shoulders, the cannon settling into place with a metallic groan.
Right then. Time to show these bastards what Eric's revenge can do.
This was it. There'd be no second chances. Let's move, Kai said. He and Era moved low, keeping to the uneven terrain and away from the main path up to the gate. Stone outcrops and boulders rose from the side of the path facing the cliff, offering enough cover to crouch and crawl ever closer to the witch's tower. Still, despite their best efforts, each step felt like it threatened to give them away. Ahead, near the gates, Kai watched the Voidkin tumble and spiral. Their movements were erratic, but somehow synchronized, like a school of fish darting in the murk of the bay, one out of the many dictating which direction they'd whip next. Thousands of eyes glowed like faint beads from the cloud, piercing the veil. One shot. Just one. That's all they'd get at this. The ground trembled beneath them. Kai turned half a heartbeat too late and found Era already mid-dispel, hands weaving the air, fingers tracing sigils with furious precision. Kai, a trap, move! The ground bucked. A ring the color of wine flared to life around their boots, growing and clawing upward like roots seeking purchase. Era's own symbol slammed down to meet them, her light ground against the hex, each strand straining to smother the other. The air went taut, thick with the smell of stone being scorched and flicked upward. Kai threw himself forward as the ensnarement snapped shut behind him. The hex had formed a cage of crimson light collapsing into the dirt where he had crouched. Across the field, the body of the nearest Voidkin wrenched toward them, its eyes fixed on his. They'd been seen. Go, go, Era rasped. Kai bolted for the next high ridge. Behind him, the lone Voidkin poured forward. Its body flickered in and out of the world as it moved. Others stirred in its wake. The cloud near the gates began to fray apart, peeling toward them in ragged threads. They're onto us, Kai shouted. Then I fight. Era stepped forward, blade already drawn, enhancement bones flickering to life along its edge. The Voidkin closed in with urgency, their bodies shuddering and clicking. A deep ravenous howl bellowed from somewhere within the cloud. The Kudasthal wrenched in Kai's grip. Power crackled through his fingers, urging him toward the swarm. I could use it. He lifted the blade, its glow spilling out in sharp, erratic bursts. I can drive them back. No, not yet. Era's voice cut sharp. She moved in front of him, firming up her battle stance. If you use it now, you'll have nothing left for the gates. Every creature in this tower will be on us before you recover. But I can't. Let me handle this, she said. The first Voidkin lunged, its form unraveling into sinuous tendrils that stretched impossibly before snapping toward Era like whips.